Between the two of them.
The inside of Coates.
Parker gets too heavily involved.
And that's Whitehead and Coates.
Good evening, esports fans. Hope you're keeping well on this very hot and sunny Wednesday evening. It's Richard John Neal here with you, back after we had a Le Mans outing with Scott Woodwiss. Thank you, Scott. Thank you to Becky Aparicio as well for coming in at short notice. And also a massive thank you to our co-commentator this evening, which is Harry Reynolds. Harry, hello. How are you, mate?
Hi Richard, yeah, I'm good. I'm happy to be here. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely delighted to be co-commentating with you. I mean, we've known each other for a long while. I think going back to Ginetta Scholarship, and now, of course, you're doing, endurance racing, F4, and I think probably enjoying it all as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like you say, we've known each other a while, so it's nice to be co-commentating alongside you after all the years you've commentated over my own racing.
Excellent, mate. Well, thanks again for joining us, and adding to a great list, a who's who of racing that we've had joining us over the weeks, and more new names to come. But we'll come back to commentary a little bit later on, because we need to run you through where we are in terms of the championship table. You won't be surprised, or if you're a regular viewer, to know that Jack Smith tops the table, 60 points clear at the moment of Thomas Potter. Jack on maximum ballast as well. Thomas in second place from Andy Carroll. Then it's Lee Pearcey and Chris Blakey fifth from Ollie Gibson. Alex Walker seventh. Rich Hayden, who missed the first couple of rounds because he was on producing and directing and co-commentating duty. He's eighth from Paul Laramie. And Christian Gillian in 10th spot. So we'll move on. 11th at the moment is John Jones from Dan Heaps. Then it's Cat Potter in 13th. Scott Bugner, we're still busy sending in postcards trying to get him to come back. I think he's going to be back with us in the minis when they kick off in a few weeks' time. Kenny Press in 15th. Hope Kenny's going to be with us this evening. Same too with Sam Walton. 17th is Jack Dickerson. So that's how the championship table lines up. And a quick summary of last week. Jack Smith taking the round on points, the two races on points. Rich Hayden second, had a win as well. And Lee Pearcey third. Rich Hayden getting the driver of the round. I think probably a bit of bootlicking going on there with Scott and Becky the co-com, but we'll come to that in a minute. I'm sure Rich richly deserved it. So where are we in the schedule? We're around 6, as you can see, getting over towards the right-hand side of the slate now. So this is at Spa-Francorchamp, a wonderful track, commentated only. Actually, I haven't only commentated virtually here. I think I did some Lotus Cup Europe stuff online or post-production a good few years back as well. And it's absolutely mega track. One of the old school tracks still used, of course, by Formula One. And just interesting to note some of the corner numbers slightly different to the map that I've got. And you'll find that with tracks over the globe, that things will alter. But nonetheless, an absolutely iconic circuit. And we are, I think, going to have a hot lap in a moment or two, which is with Andy Carroll. Andy third in the championship, as we've mentioned, and we'll be on board with him in his Honda NSX GT3, put my teeth in. And let's have a look at what this lap is going to deliver. So on board then with Andy Carroll, as we said, third in the championship, down the grid lines. Now this is worrying me, this first corner. You'll know the corner, it's La Source hairpin, very tight turn one. And it worries me because we're going to get into the situation where we have a reverse grid. I'm guessing we're still on reverse grids as we come into the round. Then we're going, of course, to the legendary Eau Rouge. And just look at this dip and then climb. Absolutely superb bit of racetrack, and what a great esports venue this is for our young, and maybe not so young drivers, to cut their teeth. We now go along the Kemmel Straight. One thing you'll pick up from here is that there are plenty of overtaking opportunities. Kemmel Straight being one. We're going into Le Combe, first of all, the right-hander turn 5, left-hander turn 6, and then a little bit of a short run through into the right-hander Malmedy turn 7, and then running very slightly downhill into the Brussels hairpin, which is turn 8. Again, continuing this roller coaster ride around the Belgian countryside, going down now into the left-hander, which is turn 9. Straight away again as we go downhill, a little bit of a right-hand curve, now coming up towards the double left-hander, appropriately called double gauche, double left, and you can see that Andy's given us a great line through there as we now head down to Le Fond, which is the right-hander turn 12. There is turn 12 again, a little bit gradient to encounter as we now go through turn 13 and then round into turn 14, and then we've got turn 15, which is Paul Frere. Go out of there through 16 down towards Blanchimont. This is a good lap, probably on course for around about 2 minutes 14, 2 minutes 15 in terms of the times. The next thing we've really got to worry about is the chicanes. As we go around Blanchimont now, turn 17, you can see the chicane up in the distance and indeed the start-finish line, so we're going to be hard on the brakes now, turn around to the right, and a little bit of straight, and then we've got to turn around again to the left. That brings us onto the grid lines and over the line to complete the lap. Well, I said 2 minutes 15, 2 minutes 14, 2:14.61 is Andy Carroll's time, and he was your guide to the circuit here at Spa-Francorchamp, a circuit that I've not personally driven, but I have driven past it. I was reminded, I won't say how many years ago because it will age me terribly, when we did my best mate and I did a Euro tour with the MG Owners Club back in the day, which was great fun. The main point of which was going to places like Cologne and the Nürburgring, where we drove to Nordschleife, which was absolutely fantastic. And Spa is something that I do hope to do one day. But qualifying is underway. I'm going to ask the question of Harry Reynolds. Harry, have you been to Spa, or dare I say done any track there? You might have, I guess, done some sim work.
Yeah, it's only unfortunately ever been sim work I've done for Spa. I'd love to visit the track one day, but for now we'll carry on watching the sim, and I'll carry on prepping for the sim for one day, hopefully where I get to drive it for real.
What are your thoughts on it? What have you simmed in? Have you simmed in a GT car maybe prior to this, or have you raced in it before on the sim?
I've tried a bit of everything around Spa on the sim, from F4, F3, GT cars. I think I've probably done a bit in prototypes as well. So nice mix. Yeah, love the circuit. So yeah, should be some good racing ahead.
Okay, I don't know how closely you followed the championship we've had so far, but Jack Smith is on 100% pole position. So Vegas, Brands, Valencia, Monza, and Le Mans. And at the moment, he's top of the stack here as well as Jack Smith. So he's on a run. Potentially, I was looking out for Thomas Potter, who's down in 7th at the moment. So Thomas trying to get in a little bit of a groove. Let's see how many we've got with us this week. So we've got 11. Kenny Press is in the pits at the moment, as is Paul Laramie. So Jack Smith from Chris Blakey at the moment, with Rich Hayden in P3, again extending his, I was going to say podium form, but Rich taking the win at the opening race last Wednesday. Jack coming in P2. Andy Carroll was 3rd to mirror his run in the championship. Now, again, Harry, what if you were doing GT3 around Spa, which car do you think you'd plump for out of the ones that we've got?
Oh, that's a good question. I think all of them I'd happily have a go in. I think the Porsche would definitely be up there as we see it now on screen. Yeah, I think Porsche is such an iconic car, and I'd definitely love to give it a go.
It's interesting to see how the Porsches, Ferraris, and Hondas have kind of all had their strengths in the various circuits that we visited over the course of the championship so far. We've got Ferrari leading, Porsche second with Thomas Potter, and then Honda in third place with Andy Carroll. Chris Blakey is fifth in the championship. Lee Pearce is Ferrari as well. So we've got two Ferraris in the top five and two Porsches, but probably slightly weighted towards Ferrari at the moment, our championship standings. But Chris Blakey, who races one of our real world racing drivers, I think it's fair to say that most of our other drivers want to go and race at some point as well. Lee Pearcey is a real world driver as well, and we see a lot of them racing with 750 BMWs and doing a good job. Let's just have a quick look. Jack Smith on Chris Blakey. Thomas Potter now up into third, so Rich Hayden has been pushed away with 5 minutes of the qualifying session to go. Really not too many laps, is it, with a lap taking 2.25 minutes?
Very long lap around the Spa circuit. Yeah, a long time down the straight as well to be able to set yourself up and relax. So yeah, a chance of a few lockups and as you come down into the Combe chicane. Yeah, so we'll see if anyone can improve on their times. But yeah, like you say, a long lap. Yeah.
How important is esports and sims to you as a? I mean, I know you're not doing a full F4 campaign, sort of dipping in when you can. I know you've been helping out JHR with the other drivers as well. But how important is sim experience these days?
It's very, very important. Like for myself especially, like saying not a full campaign for me, so track time has been very, very limited, and as it is for a lot of drivers who struggle to raise the funds to race. So sim time is very important, and yeah, can really bring you on so that when you go to the track, you know your braking points, you know your lines, everything like that. So you're not wasting time when you get to the track.
It's interesting. I think like your single seater drivers probably have to do it. I was interviewing or chatting to a couple of the mini drivers at Thruxton. They were in the trophy, and a couple of guys said, "No, we haven't got sims." Because I was trying to get them to enter our mini championship, which is coming up in a few weeks, and a couple of them actually haven't got sims, and kind of said, "Well, we don't need it." And I guess it might be a level thing. F4 at the moment though is, I mean, we always say, and I always kind of stress in the commentary, Harry, that it is certified by FIA. That really comes across, doesn't it, when you hit the paddock, the amount of international competition there is and the amount of drivers that are very serious in what they're doing.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like you say, certified by FIA. So many drivers coming from all around the world. We saw Hannah come to Thruxton and did a very, very good job. And yeah, as well, Martin Molnar, another driver, both from Virtuosi. They're doing a good job. And Bill Bergstrom, one of my teammates, he's finding his feet. And yeah, lots of competition, not just from all around the world, but from the UK as well.
We were hoping to get Rowan Campbell-Pilling along for commentary. The dates didn't quite work out for us. I think Rowan was away, but he was a little bit frustrated when I spoke to him at Thruxton with Rowan. And I think what's going on with him, I don't know this year. Well, not with him, but we kind of expected him as one of the front-running rookies to be out there and going for a win. I'm sure it's going to happen before the end of the year, but sometimes the season just doesn't go the way you hope.
No, exactly. I've worked very, very much with Rowan throughout the season, obviously being his teammate, and definitely a quick driver. We know that, and JHR know that as well. So they've put their faith in him, and I know he can do well, and I know he will get a win at some point. I think it's just a matter of time, really. Just making sure that he pieces everything together and gets the result.
In some ways, yeah, I guess championship pressure can sort of be off him for now. I mean, it's weird. We were like a couple of rounds in. I was thinking this is going to be, it's early days, and all of a sudden, like we're going to Warden Park at the weekend, and we're halfway through the year. I don't quite know how that crept up on us, but I'm digressing a little bit because we have got a purple sector here for Jack Smith. We're looking at Rich Hayden at the moment, who is in fourth position on the grid. Potentially Jack Smith still on pole. 1 minute 43 on the clock. The current times are Jack Smith, Chris Blakey, Thomas Potter, P3. We'll do a sort of qualifying podium interview after qualifying is complete. And here is Jack Smith. Let's see whether he is going to improve his time on this lap. 2 purples and super lap there. 2:13.74. So nearly a second quicker than the lap that we saw from Andy Carroll. I'm guessing that was a lap that Andy was happy with, out of probably several that he did on the display. Chris Blakey, it's Paul Laramie that's coming up towards us. I think he's going to be passed by Jack Smith. Paul in the brown and lime green car. It's not actually brown, I think it's burgundy. Depending on your screen, I've got to get my missus to change the colours on my monitor. But anyway, here is Jack Smith, who I think is due a holiday. He told me a couple of weeks ago that he was due to disappear on holiday. You can't drop the last event, so I'm wondering which one he's going to miss, because we're at Spa. We've only got Zandvoort and Sepang to go. So if it's the last one that he misses, I'm not sure you're allowed to miss the last one, but we'll see. We'll check up on Rich Hayden with that as we go through. 29 seconds on the clock. Having a quick look down the timing screen, we haven't got any purple sectors going up at the moment, so things relatively settled. Maybe I'll get the pencil of doom out and start to write the times down. Regular viewers will know that if I start writing things down, the stuff on the timing screen tends to change. Whether it will this time or not, I don't know. But Thomas Potter's still in 3rd place, so he will be our first interview as the clock now expires, and the drivers, of course, will complete their final lap. And Jack Smith looking like he is going to rack up 6 of 8 pole positions in the DK Power Ferrari. No doubt everyone at the Hop Cavern is watching, and we wish them well. And no doubt Jack will give them a shout out as well. Chris Blakey still in P2, Thomas Potter 3rd, Rich Hayden 4th from Lee Pearcey, Andy Carroll, Sam Walton, John Jones, Catherine Potter next up from Paul Laramie and Kenny Press. So just waiting. A few drivers have taken the checker, so we're not going to see Rich Hayden improve. He's taken the checker, so is Lee Pearcey. Andy Carroll is in 6th place, as we said, 3rd in the championship. Therefore, it just shows how competitive this is. Jack Smith finishes, so we're just going to wait for Chris Blakey and Thomas Potter to take the checkered flag. Chris Blakey isn't going to take the checkered flag because he's facing the nose to the barrier, which is not too good for Chris, so he will wrap things up. Thomas Potter will still be trying to get a P2 if he possibly can. Let's see what Thomas can do as we ride round the last few corners with this driver, who is actually still too young, Harry, to be entering junior championships. I think he can still go for scholarships and stuff like that, but can't at the moment. Isn't going to be of age till the end of the year. I know he's hoping to break some news shortly as to his plans for the end of the year, possibly for certainly for next year as well. Quick shot back with Chris Blake, who's got going again, but Thomas Potter just riding his way through the final chicane and across the line, and actually goes P2. It was worth Thomas staying out. Great move by, we've got Potter and Smith on the front row again. How well has that worked out? Chris Blakey, of course, had that moment, so I don't think Chris is going to be able to retake second position, but nonetheless a good starting position for Chris Blakey, P3, and that will actually echo what he did last week on the Le Mans configuration. So Chris Blakey on a little bit of a roll in terms of his qualifying. His lowest was 6, which was Brands round 2. So cracking job from him. Jack Smith first, Thomas Potter in second place, Chris Blakey third, Rich Hayden fourth, Lee Pearcey in 5th, and Andy Carroll wraps up our top 6. An interview with our top 3 after this break. Right, so our first podium interviews of the evening, and that was for qualifying, and my first podium qualifying interview with Chris Blakey of the season. Chris, I know you were on the qualifying podium last week, so it looks like you've got good momentum for that. P3 just nicked by Mr. Potter in the closing stages.
Yeah, pleased with that. Actually, that was my first flying lap. I seem to fluff up every other lap since. So I'll take that. I'm quite happy with that. Yeah, it's a good start. Good place to start from. So.
Yeah, excellent. Have you now, since we last spoke, have you been out racing the Beamer at all?
We were at Alton a couple of weeks ago. Last week before.
Yeah, I think I spoke to you about that one because that's good.
Yeah.
When's the next round for that?
This weekend. So we're at Donington this weekend. With
it's another one of those weekends where everybody's out racing because I think
yeah, everybody's out racing. Everybody I know is racing somewhere around the country. It's a racetrack bonanza this weekend.
Yeah, we're up at Alton Park, but so quite looking forward to that. And then we've got the summer break when pretty much nothing happens for me over the summer break apart from we've got F4, so looking forward to it with GP, but that's another matter. So tell us about Spa. What's good and bad about it for you?
The Porsche seems to be kind of it's lacking a little tiny bit of straight line speed, couple of mile an hour down the straight, and it would be nice to kind of give it a bit more rear end with more wing, but then you trade off of because it's quite a long straights and quite high speed bits here, so it's the trade off that you kind of got to find the middle ground of safe, can get the car around fast enough not to get mulled on the straights. So it's a good track. I love the track. It's a classic. It's very technical. I really like the track. So we'll see how the race goes.
I think that's why Rich and you guys sort of get together and pick them out. In terms of obviously racing, you've got your BMW, and have you raced anything or driven anything nearer to GT3 than the BMW? And when guys like yourself get in a race car, is the race car more racy than your regular road car or one that you've driven before? How does that work?
So my race car is the only race car I've ever really driven. Apart from tell a lie, I drove a Porsche 944 track car for my 18th birthday, many years ago, and then didn't get back into a racetrack again until I bought my car and slowly turned it from a beautiful sales rep mobile into a race car. So.
So did you actually do that yourself?
Yes. Finances are not my strong point, so I've got enough to do this, and so I've got. You can't afford anybody else to do it. You got to do it yourself. So
that's a mega achievement, though, and you're fully invested in the car if you've prepped it yourself. So I'll take my hat off to you.
Exactly. So when you prang it or have a scratch, it's even more a bit.
How long have you raced it?
I've only been racing 3 years, so
you're getting good value out of it as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've had the car for 6, and started my first ever race was in 2022. So yeah, this will be year 3. So
excellent. Well, long may it continue. I'm not going to say anything otherwise to jinx things, but good luck here at Spa. Congratulations on the qualifying podium, and fingers crossed we'll get to have a little bit more of a natter a little bit later on. Well done, Chris Blakey.
Thank you, guys.
Chris Blakey there, so P3 in qualifying, just ahead of him on that last lap, did it? Thomas Potter, good evening, Mr. Potter, how are you?
Good evening, I'm fine.
Good. Homework done?
Yeah, actually it was this week.
So what was it this week? What was the?
But I've got to do French, maths, science, English. Well, basically every subject you can think of every week.
Oh, yeah, that's not good, is it? That's not good.
No.
How's the French going? Give us a bit of French, as we're not in France.
Oh God. Bonjour, je suis Thomas. J'amuse avec ma sœur est vraiment cool, which means I have fun with my sister, who is really cool.
Excellent. I'll tell you what, you lost me after bonjour because my language is rubbish. I did try and learn Danish a while back because I'm a Danish customer, but that got muddled up with my schoolboy French. Well done, mate. So you can say that you've been talking in French on broadcast now for your homework, so you can count that as an A+ from me. If they still do those grades, I'm not sure if they do, but that's pretty good. But yeah, last lap. So you were when we came into the session after our intros, you were a little bit of a way down the order, but then crept up, and banged it into P2 last knocking. So is that like momentum or just concentration or both?
I think it was just more me saying I just want to be the fastest Porsche there is, so I went to go and do it, and to be honest, I couldn't have actually done this lap without the help of Adam over at Links Racing, for giving me this setup and making me so I can compete with the Ferraris and be fastest Porsche.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah. So I'm guessing sort of Porsche could be sort of like a class win, isn't it? Technically, because if you're the top Porsche there, but Chris was running you quite close, so it should be a good race. And in the race, obviously, Jack Smith, 100% pole record again. So are you going to beat him off the line?
Well, that's the plan yet again. I kind of want to stay behind him off the line, behind him through first corner, and get a nice slipstream up with Rouge and hopefully get him going into sector 2.
Okay, what was the story last week? Because I see from the results, if I've written them down correctly on my sheet, 8th and at 4th at Le Mans, so we're not normally seeing you on the podium, but some frustrations last week?
Well, I had a potential fracture in my arm, but it turns out it wasn't. I just had a damaged muscle and it really hurt, so it was like really hard for that one to me to push through, but I just wanted to push through and just remain finishing in every single round. So that's why I didn't do good, but I'm back as ever. I'm as good as ever now. I'm pushing through.
Yeah, that one, as you get older, you'll probably hear people talking about the driver's book of excuses, but that sounds like a valid one. What did you do to cause that?
Well, I can give you a hint. Don't play rugby the couple nights before a race.
Oh, Thomas Potter, esports, computer gamer, and rugby player. Okay, mate. Well done on P2. We'll catch up with you a little bit later. I've got a short countdown now to the start of the race. I'll say well done, Thomas, and catch up later. Well done, Thomas Potter. Always a little story going on there, which is really good. Well done to Jack Smith, 100% pole record. Well done, Jack. That really didn't seem in doubt. So, super performance. And how are you doing this evening?
Yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah, not bad. I'm just fresh off a 24-hour kart race, so yeah, still achy as ever, but it was yeah, very fresh, and I'm straight into this. So yeah, it doesn't stop for me. But yeah, no, it's a good quality. Car's very twitchy at this round, so it's gonna be a little bit sketchy in the race. Car's all over the place. I'm having to I'm like ninja hands on the wheel right now. It's crazy, but it's yeah, it's a good bit of fun around this track. So yeah, looking forward to the race.
That's good. I had a question on the tip of the tongue, which has totally escaped me for the moment. But obviously, I know what it was. I was going to say, I'm sure you mentioned to me a fortnight ago when we last caught up that you were missing a round for holiday.
Yeah, 2 rounds. The next 2 rounds, I won't be here, unfortunately. So I'm doing points, like damage limitation at the minute. I'm just trying to get as many as I can.
Don't you have to be in the last round, though? Isn't it mandatory, the last round?
I'm not too sure. I hope not, but we'll have to see. I think I've got quite a lot of points in a minute, so I'm hoping I can carry him through. Yeah, we'll see. I'm just unfortunately not here for the last 2, so.
Well, we're gonna miss you for sure on that, which is a little bit of a shame. But yeah, you got to have a break, and it was off to the States, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, off to the States. It'd be a nice little break, and I'll be watching whilst I'm over there for sure. So I'll make sure I'm in the chat.
Are you doing the mini championship as well, or?
Not the minis. I'll be doing the touring car though. I'm going to be doing laps and hot laps for everyone in the minis though, just to give everyone a bit of a head start, which would be nice. So yeah,
very good.
Everyone can keep an eye out for that for the mini championship.
Okay, if you get a chance to come and do a round, I know the guys would be interested to be racing against you. But hey, well done on 100% pole, and probably catch up with you in a minute. Got just under a minute to go before we kick off. So Jack Smith, congratulations on pole.
No worries. Thank you very much.
So that was our top 3 in qualifying. It's going to be an interesting race for sure, as we look forward to the race. We've got pit stops, of course, mandatory, which we're excited about. Looking forward to seeing where we are on timing. Okay, doing pretty well, but cars are on the grid, and we're getting ready for the first event of the evening. As Jack mentioned, we've only got 2 more rounds left. Zandvoort next week, or Zandvoort, as one of the truck drivers once said to me, and try as I may, I tried to get him to say it properly, but Zandvoort next week. You'll probably hear me say that a lot more next week as well. Can't remember who we've got co-commentating next week, but we'll come to that before the end of the show, as the lighting gantry is now complete and we are away. And Thomas Potter looking to try and slot into P2. Chris Blakey in black and yellow looking at the inside of him. Thomas comes out for the line. Great start though by Jack Smith. Thomas Potter in P2. We've got Lee Piercy and Rich Hayden side by side for 4th position as they go around last source. But Harry Reynolds looks like a decent enough start from everybody.
Yeah, I saw one car run wide into the gravel. I'm not sure who that was, but I think everyone's got a fairly clean start now, so we'll be trying to tuck in and get a good slipstream down into the chicane.
They will, and Jack Smith where he wants to be. We've got a couple of little bits of contact showing up on the timing screen. I might have to move my timing screen because it's not really adjacent to, it's kind of at 90 degrees to my viewing screen, so I'm just going to move that, and right, should be able to see what's going on both screens now, pretty much over the same at the same time. And Jack Smith out front with Thomas Potter in P2. Rich Hayden now up into third from fourth on the grid, so Rich is getting a little bit podium hungry now. The other thing, Harry, that we need to do is over the two races think about a driver of the round. So if you want to ping that in the chat to Steve and myself in the messaging bits, that would be useful, probably when we get to about the midpoint of race 2. As now Chris Blakey having a go at Rich Hayden. So Porsche versus Ferrari. Rich Hayden's got the initiative here with the line, but it's a nice sweep there into the chicane by Chris Blakey. He's going to take lovely clean bit of racing between the pair of them. We've got Andy Carroll right behind as well, wanting to get in the mix. So Andy with the orange front and the grey rear. It's Lee Piercy next up from Sam Walton. All of these drivers capable of taking race wins in the Virtual Reality Racing Club Series. And doing good as we watch from Rich Hayden. Nice on board, cool as a cucumber is Rich. It's far from cool behind because Piercy and Carroll getting side by side at the moment, and it's Piercy that just manages to hold on to position, but not really doing him any favours in. So I was going to say losing ground on his teammate here. Gets very, very close there into the final chicane. Turn 18, but they managed to sort themselves out. Paul Laramie up in the mix as well. He's in 8th place, so all of the top 10 here in with a shout and fighting for podium pace. Now with a half-hour race, Harry, I'm guessing that at some point you have to maybe sort of pace yourself a little bit, because half an hour in any form of racing is a fairly long time.
Oh yeah, definitely. It'll be push as much as you can at the start, get your track position, and then settle into a nice rhythm. As consistent as you can. You want to be minimising the mistakes, making sure that you're not losing any unwanted time, especially around Spa. Such a long lap. Yeah, minimise them mistakes, get back into a rhythm, and then at the end, then it'll be pushing until the checker flag.
I'm guessing the hope is still there for you to maybe do a bit of endurance racing. I know that you obviously won the Dragon Sport scholarship, and the plan with Dragon Sport was to try and have the road to endurance racing, and obviously the Dragon Sport thing probably on hold at the moment as Reese and his new missus. We send them our very best wishes and congratulations for their marriage. But is that a thing that hopefully will come back and you can continue with Dragon Sport at some stage?
Yeah, I hope so. I really enjoyed my time with Dragon Sport last season. I'm very grateful to Reese for what he did for me. And like you say, congratulations to Reese and Karis on their wedding. And yeah, I hope that Dragon Sport comes back with some more exciting stuff. But we'll have to see what the future holds. I've been speaking to Reese a bit recently, so yeah,
that's good.
It'll be nice to maybe get something sorted. But yeah, for now, hopefully he settles into married life, and then we get back to some racing with him soon.
Yeah, I hope so. I really do, because you could not wish to meet a nicer guy in terms of racing. Really looked after everybody on the 2 years that he ran the scholarship. So we wish them well and hope that he'll continue to look at maybe endurance racing going forward. But he gave so many people a help and a hand over the couple of years that he was doing it, which was absolutely mega and very, very generous of him. So yeah, wish them well, and we'll continue to look at the race. Jack Smith still the leader, 25 minutes to go. So Jack from Thomas Potter, 1.8 seconds is the gap with Chris Blakey in third. Let's have a look. This lovely iconic shot, and you can see the top three fairly well spaced at the moment. Nothing really in terms of battling. We might have to rely on Thomas Potter has a crash with the environment, but that means he's basically run a little bit wide, maybe clattered a barrier somewhere. Still in P2. Got Chris Blakey back in third place. This is, I've got to say, Harry, at the moment, a little bit more strung out than we used to on Virtual Reality Racing Club, and relatively calm, but maybe the calm before the storm.
Yeah, I hope so. It'd be nice to see some racing as I think there was an attempted move there up into the chicane, but yeah, a bit spread out, which I guess is nice for the leaders. You know, they don't want to be in too much of a fight and risk making contact, but for now, nice and calm. But yeah, like you say, hopefully a bit of calm before the storm.
That's Sam Walton there, busy challenging Andy Carroll, Paul Laramie right behind him as well. Paul, who hasn't had a podium in this campaign, but has been a regular podium finisher, and we tend to dart around a little bit in terms of rear-wheel drive, front-wheel drive sports cars, tin top, single seaters was our last championship. We had an F4 championship going on as well. And Sam Walton with Paul Laramie having a really good old dice at the moment. Paul trying to work his way through into 7th place. Alex Walker is down behind them as we flick back. Lee Piercy here with the blue and white colours of his team, with Rich Hayden in the leads in the yellow trim and Rich with the red trim, in case we ever get confused between the pair of them. But Jack Smith's still out the front. Someone's got best laps. Now we're a couple of tours in. 2:15.6 for Jack Smith, a 2:16 for Thomas Potter. The rest of the drivers in 17s or thereabouts. Now has Thomas gone? He's down in 12th place now. So have I missed something there? Thomas has.
Yeah, I think a bit of. Well, I think I saw Thomas off into the barrier, and yeah, hopefully he's able to get going again and fight back through. It's still just over 20 minutes left, so yeah, he should have a bit of time if he shows the pace that he had in qualifying. Hopefully, make up a few more places.
Wondering if that is maybe to his continued injury. You mentioned the rugby injury that he had, and could well be something to do with that. But yeah, down in 11th place at the moment, Thomas Potter. So ground to be made up. That's going to be good news for Jack Smith championship-wise, as we heard, trying to build up enough of a points cushion to take the last 2 rounds off. One he will drop. So if it's not crucial to be on the last round of the championship, then he will only need sort of 1 round's championship points in order to do that. So Thomas being his nearest challenger at the moment. So he would want to have a straight race with Thomas, to be absolutely fair. As we watch Paul Laramie trying to close in on Sam Walton. Missing Christian Gilliam, aren't we, this week, which is a pity, but I hope Christian will be back for our last 2 rounds. What you see here, the shots here, and I always marvel at the nature of the esports replications. Laramie having a little bit of a moment there. Just goes to show how tricky this is. Paul Laramie with Alex Walker trying to close in as well. So that is 8th and 9th. We'll keep our eyes open for Catherine Potter, who is in 9th place at the moment. Kenny Press in 10th. Thomas Potter in 11th. John Jones down in 12th. And John was up racing for a podium when we were at Monza in the reverse grid race before. Early stages of. So just shows how very evenly matched everybody is. And it will change from circuit to circuit as we watch Lee Piercy trying to close in on Rich Hayden. So it's Jack Smith from Chris Blakey, 7.9 seconds now, and Chris will be absolutely thrilled if he can grab a podium here. He has had a 2nd position in the reverse grid at Brands, so to be up in that position in the fastest off the front race is pretty mega for Chris Blakey at the moment. Rich Hayden trying to close down on him. Chris goes through. Here is Rich Hayden from Lee Piercy. And it's Andy Carroll trying to close in as well. So Andy in 5th place. Wondering if Andy will overtake Thomas in the championship standings here. I wrote the positions down, but not the points. So need to get a handle on those as we head towards our final round. If you're a regular viewer, our last round is in 2 weeks' time. And obviously on the Wednesday night. But the Tuesday, the night before, we've got the first round of our official mini E-Series, so very grateful to Ria Beauchamp and the mini team for allowing us to get involved and organise their championship. We've got a really good mix of regular VRRC drivers, we've got some new esports drivers and the real world drivers from both the JCW Championship and the Coopers, as Carroll starts to have a look at Lee Piercy. So this one's starting to get a little bit tasty here. A good battle on between the pair of them. It's the Ferrari though, Harry, with the upper hand at the moment.
Yeah, starting to get like you say, the storm's starting to come now. Maybe a bit earlier than we expected, but the battle's starting to kick off, and maybe it'll bring people back closer together. And there's a bit of chaos now as we come into, I guess, the midpoint of the race.
Yeah, we're going to have to start thinking about pit stops. I think Thomas Potter's down as having had his stop already, so got his out of the way. Thomas usually a master tactician, to be perfectly honest, so probably had nothing to lose just to get in and out as quickly as he can if there was free track around. But Andy Carroll here piling the pressure on. He's going to have to try and work out, and he's got through, I think, here. Side by side they go. Andy Carroll does make the move on Lee Pearcey. Great bit of racing between the pair of them. And again, all good, clean, fair stuff. And the question is now, can Andy Carroll pull away and try and close in on Lee Pearcey's teammate Rich Hayden, or are we going to see Lee Pearcey fight back?
Yeah, nice simple move there for Andy. See what his pace shows. I was thinking maybe he could do his pit stop a bit early and use that to get past, but oh, he's managed to get the move done, and hopefully, yeah, like you say, he can start closing in on Rich.
See what he can do. Yeah, a lot of it is going to be down to stops. We've got 18 minutes, so probably another lap or maybe 2 laps before we get into the stops in earnest. Interesting to note, Lee Pearcey is actually on the medium tyre. Rich Hayden's on the medium tyre as well. Now, the drivers don't have to change compounds in this series, but they do have to make a change. So I'll be interested to see whether Rich Hayden maybe uses the medium tyre for slightly longer, Harry, and then has the shorter stint on the soft tyre. So I would suggest that Rich and his teammate Lee Pearcey have got very good pace, bearing in mind they're on the medium tyre, and Andy Carroll, who effected the pass, was actually on the soft tyre. Now the question I'm going to ask yourself is, that's probably new territory for you, isn't it? Tyre compound changes and things like that, given what you've done.
Yes, yeah, different tyre compounds is something completely new for me. Obviously, between the slicks and the wets, that's the only difference I've had in tyre compounds while being on track with other people. But yeah, it's something new to look at this evening. It's something that I hadn't even considered. So yeah, Andy showing the pace on the soft tyre compared to Lee with the medium. So yeah, you'd expect Lee to stay out maybe that bit longer, use the length of the medium tyre, and then in some fast laps at the end with a soft is what you'd expect.
We just lost. That was Lee Pearcey, wasn't it? Who's just gone off. So Lee Pearcey into the barrier. So that means that we've got Rich Hayden now in P2. So Lee Pearcey just showing on the timing screen, crash with environment in the background as Harry was talking about the tyres there. And still, Jack Smith still out front. Rich Hayden in P2. Chris Blakey in P3. So, yeah, missed the pass from Rich Hayden. Apologies for that. Might have been an issue for Chris Blakey. Trouble is with the commentary here, looking everywhere. I've got notes, I've got timing screens, and very often sort of going away as we look at Chris Blakey. Back from Chris Blakey, this is Andy Carroll in 4th place, busy chasing him. And they come out of La Source, going downhill now. And Chris Blakey under a bit of pressure. Thought he might have maybe, with the pressure on, come into pits. We've got 15 minutes on the clock. And Chris still in 3rd place on the soft tyre. He's going to eke another lap out of it. But here comes Andy Carroll on the medium, which is serving him well. And that looks like another great move by Andy Carroll. So 2 passes within a couple of laps. And it looks like his tyre strategy here could be working very well here for Andy Carroll. Great driving as well. But of course, it's all about tyre strategy too.
Yeah, definitely. He's on a roll. He's picking up some really good ground there. And yeah, like you say, 15 minutes left. Still plenty of time to carry on closing in on the 2 leaders. Yeah, it'll be interesting now to see if Chris can stick with him. Maybe follow towards the 2 front cars. But the line speed difference was crazy down the straight there. So Andy's using that to his advantage. He's obviously got the right setup for the job.
Yeah, he has. Thomas Potter's now up into 10th, so he's got ahead of his sister Catherine. Alex Walker ahead of him in 9th. Sam Walton 8th. Kenny Press 7th. Kenny's having a good run, but hasn't had a stop yet, Kenny Press. Lee Pearcey is on the mediums with Rich Hayden. Now, interestingly, we saw Lee Pearcey go off, and it looked like a fair old wallop actually for Lee Pearcey, but he's still showing on the timing screen in 6th place as we watch Rich Hayden in P2. And this could be a tyre master stroke as well because he's on the medium tyre. Is he going to stay on that for the second half of the race? If he, again, dips longer into the race on the medium and then switches to soft for the remainder, that could play into his hands. I don't know whether he's going to get close enough to Jack Smith, who tends to be perfect on the stops with 14 minutes to go. In terms of the drivers that have stopped, we've got Sam Walton is the lead driver of the stoppers, going by my timing screen, from Alex Walker second and Thomas Potter third on the drivers that have had stops. And Rich Hayden stays out for another lap. So Jack Smith, I think, might be in now. So Rich Hayden will take over the lead as he rounds La Source going down towards Eau Rouge. So Hayden now the leader. Lee Pearcey goes up into P2. And this is kind of playing out with the two medium tyre runners staying out that little bit longer. We've got 13 minutes on the clock. So this is going to give them another lap, maybe another 2 laps. They can stop whenever they want. There isn't a pit window or pit stop window per se. They can come in on the lap before last if they want to. So there is Lee Pearcey. I'll tell you what, Lee's done well here. He's only 11 seconds down on Rich Hayden on the clock. So that off wasn't perhaps as bad as we thought it might have otherwise been here. But we'll see. I mean, timing-wise, are they going to afford an extra lap? Or are they going to flick into the softs? Jack Smith is now the top stopper. He's in P3 from Andy Carroll. Andy Carroll 4th, Sam Walton in 5th place has come out of this fairly well too, as we go back to Jack Smith in P3. So the question is, are we going to get stopped for Rich Hayden and Lee Pearcey on this one? Suspect we might, Harry, because we're edging towards 2/3 distance, and I'm wondering just how effective the medium tyre is going to be over a long distance. They've got to stop, that's the key thing. So if you're going to stop, you might as well effect a tyre change as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's probably, as we come into nearly the closing stages of the race, you want to get your pit stop in, get the best out of the tyres, really. They're not going to drop off too quickly. So, getting the pit stop done around now is probably the best time. And I guess react to your competitors as well. You've got to see what they're doing, see what's best for your strategy, what's best compared to everyone else, and see where you can file out, because you don't want to make a stop, come out in traffic, and then lose even more time to your competitors.
Absolutely right. It always amazes me on the big long endurance races where you have strategists working out when the best time to come in and go out is, and to think about traffic, as you've said, and it changes all the time, and there are some real clever people that sort that out. Paul Truswell, one of the long-standing commentators that I've worked with, is actually employed by Team Steel. I think that was Lee Pearcey off again. Just having a look, we saw the yellow flash disappearing, so he's still showing in P3 at the moment. So Jack Smith now goes back into the lead. So Rich Hayden effecting his stop, and Jack Smith has played this one out absolutely spot on so far. 11 minutes to go, so almost at 2/3 distance. Rich Hayden and Lee Pearcey still showing a 2nd and 3rd on the timing screen. It was interesting to see Chris Blakey down in 7th. Now, he was very much on for a podium early doors, but finds him, I'm not saying he won't, but he's a fair way down at the moment. He's in 6th position, so a fair bit of work to do to get back onto podium pace, which Rich Hayden very clearly has here. So Rich running in P2, Andy Carroll giving chase to him. Rich Hayden has switched, by the way, Harry, to the soft tyre, so everybody on softs now, and that looks to have been a fairly good strategy, and he's only got a third of the race to do on the softs. We'll get a handle. Sam Walton has a incident, and Andy Carroll and Rich Hayden. Now, Andy's tyres are going to be slightly older because he came in a lap or two before Rich Hayden, but he is closing up though, so we might have a battle on for 2nd place here.
Yeah, definitely. It might be a fight. Yeah, as you can see, well, Rich has quite a big gap to catch for the lead, so it's going to be more focused on behind you rather than in front of you, which isn't ideally what you want. But you got to do what you got to do with the situation that happens as it comes at you. So yeah, Rich with the slightly newer tyre, so hopefully, as we come to the last couple of laps, he'll be able to use that advantage to be able to hold on. And whether the tyres take too long to come in as well from your pit stop, whether they take too long to heat up. So that might be another factor that they have to consider as well when making their stops.
Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't thought about that. It's not always the easiest thing, is it, to come out on the new tyres. Great battle shaping up here, though. Chris Blakey putting Alex Walker under pressure. So this is for 4th place. Probably, now I was saying about Chris Blakey having dropped away from the podium, and he has, but if he makes this move, if he gets past here, he's only be 1 place away from the podium. So any problems for Jack Smith, Rich Hayden or Andy Carroll, we're going to see Chris Blakey potentially on the podium. Similarly, Alex Walker, he's in the place at the moment and having a very good run. Alex was 2nd in the partial reverse grid race at Monza. Really great drive from Alex Walker at Monza, best result of the season so far, and you can see why here. Having a really good race with the Porsche, so Ferrari versus Porsche, and we'll see whether Chris Blakey can make the move now. He's very pleased with his qualifying, and we'll see whether he can come through. Thomas Potter has had more problems. He's down in 12th place, and Chris Blakey ran the outside at La Source, and you don't see that move too often. Wonderful stuff, but Alex Walker's going to try and run with him. They are going to be side by side. Brilliant stuff between the pair of them. Chris Blakey's got the run through the next kink and consolidates the place. Lovely bit of racing and good, clean, fair racing from the pair of them. Never seen anyone go around the outside at La Source like that.
No, that was a very good move there from Chris. He seemed like he just came off the brake a bit and well, yeah, managed to get the move. And I didn't know how close they were going to get up through Erosion Rally on there, but they kept it clean, which is very good. What you want to see, good fair racing between them both, and yeah, hopefully now Chris can chase after the podium.
Let's hope that he can. Jack Smith's still the race leader. Rich Hayden in P2. Andy Carroll is 3rd, and we join Andy Carroll in a little bit of a lonely race at the moment. Actually, not that far behind Rich Hayden, but Rich has extended his advantage. So the tyre strategy and Rich's driving working very well for him has extended the lead that he has in 2nd place over the 3rd place man, Andy Carroll. Andy, who was on the podium in race 1 last week, 2nd podium of the campaign, the other one coming at Brands Hatch. Both of Andy Carroll's podiums have been with Scott Woodwiss on comms, so he might be seeing me as a little bit of a jinx in terms of that, as the Swavesy Garage car continues on its way with Chris Blakey next up. Here is Alex Walker, who had a good race for 4th, but now in 5th place with Lee Piercy behind him. Paul Laramie 7th, Sam Walton 8th. Catherine Potter is in 9th place. Good solid result again for Catherine Potter. And then Kenny Press 10th from John Jones and Thomas Potter. I haven't seen John Jones in this one, which is a pity, but we'll hopefully catch up with John in race 2 as we continue to watch Alex Walker. 6 minutes remaining on the clock. Reminded of the hashtag on the skirts of the car, which is Race Against Dementia, Sir Jackie Stewart's charity, which we're delighted to be supporting for this campaign and indeed going forward. So touches so many people's lives. My mum lives with dementia, vascular dementia and Alzheimer's, so very well aware of the need for research into that condition, and also in terms of support that's offered to families who have to deal with that. And was that Paul Laramie taking a wallop there? And there's a problem. Jack Smith going off as well. What's happening there?
Just seems like he's lost the rear there. It must have carried a bit too much entry speed in and just gave up. I saw a couple laps ago that Jack Smith did put in a purple middle sector, so although he's got a very comfortable lead, he does seem to be pushing on hard, which is what you want to see. You want to see them on the limit every lap, but obviously stepping over the limit there.
Yeah, I was a bit confused there, Harry, because we'd seen another car, I think, glance the barrier before that, and your immediate thought in a real-world commentary situation is that there's fluid down. I'm not sure that simulated racing goes that far in terms of having fluid down. And maybe I know Rich Hayden had an engine go on the last round that I was commentating on, but I think just a coincidence that we saw a couple of spins within a few seconds of each other. But Jack Smith retains the lead, 10 seconds over Rich Hayden from Andy Carroll. Alex Walker, it was Chris Blakey, wasn't it, that had the moment? Because Alex Walker back into 4th. Well done, Alex, ahead of Chris Blakey. Lee Piercy in 6th place, but Jack Smith still there with 4 minutes on the clock. John Jones has had a moment as well. We can see on the timing screen, John down in 11th place at the moment. Thomas Potter showing a lap down. So Thomas will be hoping to work his way through. There is John Jones in the 639. Is he going to call it a day, John, or is he going to soldier on? He's coming into the pits. That's a pity for John, who is very often regularly up in the top 10. Had a 6th place at Monza, race 2, best result of the campaign for John Jones. As we now pick up on the 8th place driver, which is Paul Laramie, a little way behind Sam Walton with just under 4 minutes on the clock. So Paul Laramie still picking up some useful points here. Jack Smith still with the best lap of the race, 2 minutes 15 points, treble 2. Rich Hayden with 2:16.152. And let's go back to Thomas Potter. What did Thomas do? He did a 2:15 as well. So Thomas, a couple of laps adrift. And I'm wondering, as I say, whether Thomas's injury playing up a little bit in this one as well. Not making excuses for him, but certainly well capable of seeing Thomas up at the sharp end of things, as Lee Piercy now is racing hard. So we've got Chris Blakey here with Lee Piercy trying to close down on him. Good to see Lee having a little bit of a renaissance in this one. Had some issues mid-race, but starting to climb his way back up, and maybe with a shout of 5th here.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like you say, he had a few problems early on in the race, but no, he's coming back through. Probably won't be able to do any better than 5th, but yeah, hopefully a nice bit of a battle here to finish off the race. And yeah, it's going to be getting tough for them now. Although obviously it's only a sim race, but still it's hot weather out there. So for their sims, it's going to be tough on them. Starting to probably build up a bit of a sweat now. So. Yeah, hopefully that doesn't get to them too much. Not too many more mistakes to come. But yeah, Lee's closing in. He's definitely getting closer now. Maybe putting a bit of pressure onto Chris. But we'll see what happens in the final few minutes.
You make a good point. I mean, these esports races are hot work, even when we haven't got the temperatures that we're currently enjoying here in the UK. I know you're away at the moment. Where are you on holiday, by the way?
I'm in Mallorca, so it's very hot.
You could have stayed in England. I don't know about Wales. Is Wales warm at the moment as well? Oh,
Yes.
Paul Laramie. Oh. Sorry to cut across you there, Harry. Paul Laramie was busy challenging Sam Walton and just overdid it from the corner. We're going to see Cat Potter go past. So Paul Laramie's got a little bit of work to do. Yeah, so go on. You was going to say how warm it's warm all over the country. Getting in Wales too at the moment.
Yeah, it is. It's even hot in Wales, which is a very big surprise for us. It's just typical. As the weather gets nice in Wales, we go away. But oh well, it is what it is, and hopefully now I can enjoy some sun over the weekend, get a nice tan for when I come back, and show off to all the other drivers at the tracks.
Are you going to the GP? Are you back in time for the GP? Are you going to the F4 round or the F4 event at Silverstone?
Yeah, I hope so. Although I doubt I'm driving now. It's coming up very close, and I've not had any more track time. But yeah, definitely I'm going to be going along if I can. Hopefully doing some work for JHR as we see a move now, I think, or possible move coming down into the chicane.
Yeah, Chris Blakey and Lee Piercy for 5th position. Blakey through. I tell you what, Chris Blakey has had a few issues in this race, but he's fought back fantastic. And I always say, you know, events, misfortune, whatever, it's how you deal with it and how you come back. And Chris Blakey has been absolutely superb at this one coming back. And, you know, Lee Piercy's had a few issues as well, but they're still fighting for really useful points here. 5th and 6th place points. 26 seconds left on the clock. So we're very much into the last knockings of this race as they head back towards the start-finish area. So Jack Smith is going to grab a, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th win of the campaign in this one, as Lee Piercy looks to try and make up the position, 5th position. But back to our race leader, and Jack Smith is in P1. The 15 car will buzz the pit wall And Jack Smith does it again. It's a lights out to flag victory for Jack Smith. Perfectly executed start. Great race. One little mistake, which we'll talk to him about. Rich Hayden does a buzz as well. Great to see Rich for a podium interview as well. So well done to Rich Hayden on P2. And Andy Carroll's going to take third place. They're all pretty much on the length of the straight. So that's our podium completed. You can see how hot things are out there. It's going to be Alex Walker in fourth place. A great result for Alex in the first race. We've seen him do well in reverse grid races, but he'll be delighted to convert that form into what I tend to term as fastest off the front races. And next it's going to be Chris Blakey, who is working his way around. So Chris Blakey having a good run and is going to finish in fifth place out of the chicane across the grid lines, and will take fifth position. The top six should be completed by Lee Piercy. It comes across the line now. So that's your top six, and we'll have a catch up with our top three drivers after this break.
Is that a Jack Smith spin somewhere?
Okay, so we're ready now for our podium interviews. We're going to kick off with Andy Carroll. Well done, Andy. You've actually the first race podium interview that I've grabbed with you in this series. I think Mr. Woodwiss had the monopoly on you up to this point, but I'm delighted to get the podium interview. Enjoyable race?
Yeah, not too bad at all, actually. It started off a bit, mundane, I guess. Sort of just tried to keep it going, keep it on the track, and yeah, managed to make the most of a few mistakes from the cars in front. I think these three cars in front of me, I think, kind of had at least one spin. So yeah, that was helps. So yeah, managed to, after the pit stops, it was fairly getting to the end, not doing anything silly, not trying to push too hard, and when trying to challenge, catch Rich, just a little bit too much pace for me, and yeah, just sort of just brought it home, and very pleased with the podiums. Yeah, good points. I mean, third in the championship, so that's really good. Thomas was a little way down as well. I think was the final classified finisher, so points-wise, that shapes up quite nicely. And we've got this thing now that I'm pretty sure the championship regs say you've got to do the last round. So technically, Jack Smith is qualified for the championship. So it's between you and Thomas. Don't tell me that.
In a light-hearted way, I'm sure we'll get clarity on this. It was a conversation that Rich and I were having last year about trying to get excellent room. But yeah, I mean, Cracker, we thought he was going to get involved in the dice there with Rich when he had his tyre stop, and he obviously was on, or perhaps not obviously, if you had the medium tyre on, and then switched over to soft, but he just managed to edge away from you. So
yeah, as soon as I came out behind him, I thought, well, there's no point in getting involved in anything here. As he said, I knew Tom had spun out. I knew that Chris and Lee were behind me, so yeah, literally just trying to make the most of that race and be happy with third position.
The thing I've not picked up on, I don't think, before, is Swavesey Garage. Tell us a bit about that.
I'm afraid I cannot tell you anything about that because that is completely my teammates got like a sponsor. So that's why we're running that one. That was his sponsor. So. But I'm sure they're excellent. I'm sure they've been serviced.
we're still trying to get him back. I'm encouraging people to spam him and say get him back for the last couple of rounds. I know he's out racing this weekend, isn't he? Which is
I think
I
so,
haven't had a
yeah.
chance to catch up with many people at the track, but yeah,
I think real life is getting in the way for him.
Yeah, it's understandable, isn't it? But so we need the other livery. We need him out as well at some point. I'm sure we will at some point. But anyway, Andy, I'm glad we finally got a race podium interview done with you. So that's good, and best of luck for race 2. And congratulations.
Cheers.
That was Andy Carroll, 3rd position in race number 1. And we come on to Rich Hayden, P2. Now, Rich, you were saying when we were at the ad break that you'd messed up your strategy, but it looked pretty good from where we were.
Yeah, I shouldn't really complain with a second, should I? Really, especially when I'm second to Jack. So yeah, I just had the race a lap longer than it actually was. So I could have stopped slightly earlier and taken more advantage of the soft tyre than I did. But I'm not going to complain. I'm going to adjust my setup, or in fact, I've already adjusted my setup for the next race. So yeah, it was good. It was a good race, nice and clean. I think from what I saw, obviously I benefited from the 2 Porsches spinning out in front of me, which made it a hell of a lot easier to get past them. But other than that, yeah, it was quite a good race.
That's good. And what the championship wise, are you allowed to drop the last round, or do we not
So
drop the last round?
you are allowed. It's excluded from the dropped rounds. So if you don't turn up, if you basically have 2 drop rounds. So sorry, you don't have 2 drop rounds. You have another lost score. So you're not disqualified for not entering the thing, but you can't use it as a drop round.
Got you. Okay, yeah, that makes perfect sense. And I'm not sure Andy Carroll's going to be happy with that now, but
It's more than my life's worth to disqualify Jack for a technicality.
Do you know what? Because we had the discussion, didn't we, at Silverstone VRRC finals last year, and I think in my head I knew that, but I think it's the heat getting to me at the moment. But yeah, so it's to encourage people to come, not make it mandatory. That's the thinking behind
Correct.
it.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, so it's not a dictatorship.
Not currently.
Right. Okay. So yeah, good that you got the pay. Driver of the round as well last week. Congratulations on that.
Thank
I was
you.
wondering if sort of Becky and Co were doing a little bit of blowing smoke, but
I think it was down to the strategy. Me and Lee came up with a fantastic strategy last week for us to basically split the race with 2 lots of super soft tyres. So it was I managed to take the win, and it was the only way that I'd be able to get past Jack. He came out after the pit stop on mediums, and I was on super soft, so I was able to reel him in. But that'll be my one and only. I get one over on him, I think.
well, you don't know. Could well happen. So you got your strategy sorted out for race 2. I think you're currently showing the 7th on the grid for that one.
Yeah,
and
it's going to be fun.
Is it going to be soft, short run, and then onto medium, or are you staying soft all the way? You're not going to tell us.
We'll find out.
We'll have to find. Watch this space.
Yeah.
All right, Rich Hayden, well done on P2, and
thank you.
Good luck for race 2. Let's have a quick word with our race winner, Jack Smith. Now, our director, Steve, managed to just flick shots to when you had a moment. So tell us about that.
Yeah, quite a big one actually. Yeah, I just clipped a bit of AstroTurf. I got a bit greedy on the curb on entry, and it just spat me out. So I was trying to spin it round, but the TC was catching me, and I couldn't do anything. So I had to do this really awkward turnaround. But yeah, no, it's just one of them, isn't it? I was quite lucky. I had a gap behind me, so I tried to get around as fast as possible and then back on it. So yeah, and then right at the end, my tyres, they've just gone. Last 2 laps of that stint, both stints are just so sketchy, and on this car especially, it's just ridiculous. But we made it work, and we made it last until the end of the race. So yeah, really happy.
What I should have opened the interview with, by the way, is congratulations on the win, Jack. So I'll do that now, and not a professional opening for me at all, but I hope to redeem myself. But yeah, well done on an 8th win in the campaign, so it's going well.
Yeah, you could say that, couldn't you? Yeah, no, it's going way better than I thought it would be. You know, going into a championship, I don't expect to be doing this well at all. So I'm humbling sort of myself at the minute. I don't really know what's going on, but yeah, I'm just taking it again, one race at a time. I take it as a fresh, clean slate every race. And I don't underestimate anyone. You know, Rich last week, he came out of nowhere with that strategy. So yeah, it's just one of them. You got to keep your eye on everyone because you never know. So yeah.
We've got about a minute to go before the race. I've got another question I'm going to ask you. I'm going to save it for race 2, assuming we can get you up onto the podium in race 2. But again, apologies for the belated well done, and congratulations on the win, Jack. Absolutely superb stuff, and good luck for race 2.
Oh, thanks, Rich. Appreciate it.
So there we go. It's our podium interviews completed, and we're looking forward to our second race of the evening. I can't believe how quickly this season is going. For real, the real world season, that we're very nearly at the halfway stage of touring cars, which we reached this week, and only got 2 more rounds of VRRC World Endurance League to go as well, which is a shame. But we're looking forward to the minis as well, which is great, and that is largely catered for the summer break that we get with the touring cars as well. So pretty excited about that and looking forward to that. But it's great to have racing every week, and I will be here. I think Scott Woodwiss doing the touring car rounds, which are on Wednesdays because we're running Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So Scott will be with you for that. I might dip in on a couple if I'm able to. It's actually worked out quite well because there's a couple of stock car meetings I need to get to on Wednesday nights over the course of the summer as well. So looking forward to those. Harry, though, we've got another racing prospect. We've got Cat Potter and John Jones hoping to get a little bit of limelight here. I shall come to you in a minute, Harry, because the lighting sequence is about to get underway. So Cat Potter and John Jones. Sam Walton, P3 on the grid from Andy Carroll. So let's see how things go with lights out, and we are racing on the Spa configuration again. Cat Potter makes a really good start. Well done, Cat, heading down into Los Oz. This is the bit that worried me when I was doing the lap, and you can see they go 3 wide. There is a little bit of contact in the mix. That was the kind of thing that I was worried about happening, and so yeah, it all came to pass with Andy Carroll out front now from Lee Piercy. Cat Potter in 3rd place. Richard Hayden. Richard Hayden is next up from Jack Smith up into P5. Cat Potter across the curbs. And yeah, I mean, Spa, the purists don't like reverse grid racing per se. And it is a worry on some tracks, particularly where you've got that run down into La Source. Still sorting each other out, but if this was a real-world scenario, Harry, how would you feel about being in a reverse grid race going down to La Source?
I think most tracks it's not too bad. Spa is very tricky for a reverse grid race, but all of these drivers they know what they're doing. So obviously, like we saw there, a bit not so much of a clean start compared to race 1, but it's part of it. Sometimes incidents do happen, as we see another spin there, and I think a bit of chaos happening again, but. Yeah, it's part of the racing, and yeah, it's unfortunate, but as long as they can pick their heads up now, and it's still a long race, still like 28 minutes. We're only on lap 1, so yeah, they've still got plenty of time to come back through, and anything can happen.
Yeah, and indeed. So we've got Lee Piercy there going through in the blue and white with the yellow trim, running in P2 at the moment, ahead of Jack Smith. So it was Rich Hayden that went down. Rich, I'm not trying to rub it in, but he's got involved there. Finds himself a way back. Thomas Potter looking for better luck in this one. He is in 4th place at the moment. But Andy Carroll, the race leader from Lee Piercy, Jack Smith, Thomas Potter, Chris Blakey is in 5th place. Let's watch for Chris to come into shot. Bit of a gap back to Chris, but we do see him as Lee Piercy comes under pressure here from Jack Smith. Jack waiting to pick his moment. I think probably wasn't quite the moment, but it was for Thomas Potter, who goes up into P2. Lee Piercy in 3rd place, and Jack Smith, who saw an opportunity and went for it. He's still not that far away from the front, so can bide his time. Very early doors in this race, but as you can see, nobody willing to give up a place with any ease. They're all fighting for what are potentially very valuable championship points, and it's allowing Andy Carroll to get away now as Lee Piercy challenges Thomas Potter for 2nd place. He's having a look around the outside. Lovely move by Lee Piercy up into P2, and here comes Jack Smith now. Potter down into 4th place, but some great racing, a good passing there.
Yeah, very good move there from Lee. A move we've seen a couple of times from a few drivers up through Rouge. Yeah, a good start it was initially from Jack Smith. He's come up the grid very quick, and obviously dropped back a bit there into the bus stop chicane, shall I say. Yeah, but he's definitely going to be fighting back through. His pace was crazy, and he's gone purple in sector 1, obviously it only being lap 2, but quicker than everyone else. So he's started this race as he ended the last one, really.
He's going to give us, yeah, you're absolutely right. He's going to give us an interesting showdown as to how quickly he can close down on Andy Carroll out front. Carroll's really impressed me in this one. Thomas Potter having a go at the PSE. Chris Blakey in 5th, then Paul Laramie. Kat Potter in 7th, having a really good run, Catherine Potter. Ahead of Kenny Press and John Jones. Then it is Alex Walker, Dan Walton, Rich Hayden. I was going down the timing screen to work out if Rich was recovering from that first lap incident, and he's down in 12th at the moment, but he might make up some spaces as we get longer into the race. So Thomas Potter not really under pressure at the moment from the black and yellow Porsche of Chris Blakey, and that gives him the breathing space to have a look at Lee Pearcey. So a proper race on between those two, which is exciting to see. And meanwhile, Jack Smith is, I think, beginning to close the lap down to Adam Carroll. 1.8 seconds the gap at the moment. So try and remember that if you can. Lee Pearcey still back in 3rd as we watch the battle for 4th position. Thomas Potter closing right up. So Porsche chasing the 3rd position Ferrari at the moment to come out of the turn 18. I think potentially the chicane could be 18 and 19. Maybe that's where the 19 corners were on our graphic that we saw at the start of the show. Harry, your background, a little bit of endurance racing. I'm guessing that the Brit car was a great environment to be in. I worked with them at Silverstone earlier on this year, and if I have worked with them before, I don't think I have, but really super bunch of people.
Yeah, definitely. Brit Car was an amazing championship to be part of, alongside with Dragon Sport there. So yeah, the endurance sort of racing for me, that was my first look at it. Yeah, and it was something different again from what I was used to. But yeah, definitely something I enjoyed, and being alongside Reese, it was a lot to learn and frustrating at times. You know, it was such a close championship fight that unfortunately couldn't capitalise on. But you know, it was good racing, and I definitely want to do more with Reese and endurance wise.
It was good to watch your progress through the year. And for anybody watching, Dragon Sport not running the scholarship at the moment, but Harry was the winner of the second Dragon Sport scholarship. And it was a really weird day because when we had it was one day, unlike the Fiesta or Ginetta ones that I've worked on, and we had to get everything, and we ran out of light, didn't we, on the day? And then Reese decided to take the 3 finalists down for another day, a full day's testing at Brands. You know, very, very generous of him to do that and to put your 3 paces in a day. But I think it worked out well for him doing that. But running scholarships is not an easy thing to do, particularly on one day. I just on my socials yesterday announced the launch. It was a week ago, but popped it up on my socials yesterday for the Fiesta Junior Scholarship. And what I would say to anyone thinking of doing, you know, if you're a youngster like Thomas Potter, he's our youngest driver here. If you're thinking about entering a scholarship, it is a great way of, if you're a karter, acquainting yourself with the circuit racing experience and you know, whether it's the JSCC scholarship, which we got the battle for the lead, JSCC scholarship, which happens. Jam Sport do a senior scholarship now as well, and then the 2 other junior scholarships, VRRC Fiesta and Ginetta. I don't think anyone would mind me saying that Ginetta is the premier one out of the 2. It's akin to F4. It's not an FIA championship, but it may as well be with the international flavour that we've got with Ginetta Junior Racing now. But we'll come back to that in a minute and talk about that because we've got battle on for the lead here.
Yeah, we do. Very close now. Jack's closed up very, very quickly, and it looks like he's going to have the move done quite easy up the inside there. And he's through. It didn't seem like Andy put up too much of a fight there. He held his racing line, and Jack's through. And I think with the pace he showed, well, in the first couple of laps and in the last race, it might already be closed off. But then again, we saw a mistake from him, so if Andy and Thomas and the others can keep the pressure on, then maybe he can make a couple more mistakes and there's into it.
I'm wondering if Andy Carroll is thinking about big picture here, because drivers have to do that in terms of, you know, he knows that Jack Smith's not going to be around for the next 2 rounds, so this is, you know, maybe all about getting finishes, and getting points. I mean, qualified in 6th place, so maybe he knows that he hasn't got outright pace, but to be in P2 is obviously better than a DNF. He's got Thomas Potter behind him. Thomas had a lower score in race number 1. These two, effectively, in our final 2 rounds, I go, oh, Thomas! And we thought, by the way, I forgot to mention Lee Pearcey having a moment earlier on as well, but Thomas grabs a moment, again, recovers well, goes through the gravel, and Thomas Potter chasing Andy Carroll very hard indeed. It puts Chris Blakey up into 3rd place, so Chris Blakey now is, again, on potential podium pace. Let's just have a quick look down the order. Rich Hayden's up into 11th. John Jones has had an issue. I think he had just had a clatter with the environment, so he's had an off. So Rich Hayden up to 11th, and Lee Pearcey in 4th after his moment. Actually, again, Lee Pearcey having had a couple of offs over the course of the race, as we not see Kenny Press for the first time in 7-Up livery, which is great to see. So much to talk about at the moment as Kenny comes under pressure from Paul Laramie and still chasing Cat Potter, who's in P7. And Kenny runs a little bit wide. The 7-Up machine, I think, is having a little bit of an issue there from Kenny, but he's about to be passed by Sam Walton. But good to see Kenny racing. Alex Walker going through. His Cat Potter coming under pressure from Paul Laramie. So Paul down the inside goes up into 7th. Catherine Potter in 8th. And I've forgotten what we were talking about, Harry. So much going on. Thomas Potter had the off. He's down in 5th. So Lee Pearcey 4th now. Chris Blakey 3rd from Adam Carroll and Jack Smith. And I think the point that was leading into all that was maybe Andy Carroll just thinking about bigger picture. P2, who's under pressure for P2, but he survived that from Thomas Potter. And it could be valuable points for him, as he knows, as I was about to say, that obviously Jack Smith's not around for the last 2 rounds. So points potentially could be a big help to him.
Yeah, definitely. They do have to look at the bigger picture. It's a championship. You've got to see who can do well today. It'll be who can do well over the whole championship. And as we come to the closing stages, like we were saying, the championship points before today was only a 10-point gap between Tom Potter and Andy Carroll, so in Tom Potter's favour. So 2 strong results as of right now for Andy. So I think he'd be taking that 2nd place in the championship, and without Jack Smith there for the final couple of rounds, it looks like Andy might have this.
Certainly going to be keeping a very close eye indeed on the points at Andy Carroll. I'm suggesting his worst round was Valencia, had 2 7ths. So if you're dropping 2 7th places, that's a lot of points to to drop, because they're 2 good scores. And I think there were slightly more drivers at that round as well. So here is Andy giving a shout out in the break as we did, or in the interviews to Scott Woodwiss Family Garage. I think there was a deal, Harry, that if they sold a car through this coverage, then I think Scott would get entries paid for in real world racing or something like that. So if you do want to buy a car, go and check out Swavesy Garage. I'm guessing they might have an online presence. So let's see if we can drum up some business support for Scotty Bugner, who I don't know if he's watching, but I had a couple of exchanges on socials with him recently. I do miss him in this championship. Great character and a very good driver as well. One of our VRRC champions. As we watch Paul Laramie trying to close down on Alex Walker, that could be a battle. We're getting in towards stopping territory now. Probably another lap or 2 laps before we start to get the stops. Jack Smith still out front. Best lap 2:15. He's the only driver lapping in the 15s at the moment. Thomas Potter has done a 15 as his best lap. The other drivers varying, but Jack Smith still the class of the group at the moment from Andy Carroll in P2. Andy goes through shot. Here is Jack Smith again. Chris Blakey trying to close in on the 3rd place car at the moment as well. Chris Blakey's had a good turnaround in this meeting. He was, remember, in race number 1, quite a fair way away from the podium, but has closed in on the podium towards the end of race 2. Couldn't make it happen, but now he's got the potential to do so as we pick up on Paul Laramie now closing down. It's really caught Sam Walton here. So Laramie's on a little bit of a charge and a little bit of a Porsche power battle going on at the moment. So let's see whether Paul Laramie, and right behind Paul Laramie is Catherine Potter, we see going through in the pink and black. Catherine getting better and better. If you're watching VRRC and toying with the idea of coming racing and thinking that you can't do what Jack Smith's doing, then sign up anyway, get in, join the back of the grid, and progress and improve. I know the masterclasses with Jack Smith are coming back as well for VRRC members, so plenty of learning to be had and guidance, which is very, very useful, and it'll be great to have some new drivers with us as we watch Paul Army still closing in on Sam Walton. From the driver's perspective, what's the easier point here, Harry? Is it closing, or is that frustrating, or is the overtake? I suppose the overtake, whether that's easier, depends on the circuit. But which do you enjoy more, the closing or the passing?
Oh, I think you've got to enjoy the passing more. At least personally, I do. But yeah, it's very tough either way to be able to close in on a car without making the mistakes. Overtaking, you can force another driver into a mistake, so maybe a bit easier there. But yeah, definitely both are enjoyable. It's better than being the one closed in on.
What about because the other discipline we haven't spoken about that you enjoy and do well at is rally driving, isn't it? So you obviously have a co-driver with you, but otherwise it's a pretty lonely existence, isn't it, rally driving?
Yeah, I mean it's completely different again from any circuit racing that I've done. So that was a completely new experience for me. But yeah, I've had some good people around me for the rallying. Similar to the circuit, I've for a long time now been supported by some good people. So yeah, having Patrick Walsh next to me for the rallying, it was good to have him in my ear. Patrick having been, I don't know how many times, but multiple time British rally champion. Yeah, so having somebody next to you is different, and screaming where they want you to go on road you've never driven.
I mean, I didn't know that actually about Patrick. That's really good to know. And does he actually bark at you? I mean, if you get something wrong, or is he just giving you instruction and information rather than orders?
Oh, Patrick's amazing. I mean, like, for me, I struggle listening to my co-driver just with the fact I'm not used to that.
Yeah.
And me and Patrick have a laugh. I had a bit of an off in my most recent rally a month or two ago, and Patrick and me had a bit of a laugh about it. As we were going off, he's there shouting the note at me, even though he knows that we're not staying on. But yeah, Patrick's very good. He's like having a driver coach next to you. He knows so many stages around the world that he just knows how much speed you can carry in what car, and he's amazing to have next to you. I don't think I'd want anyone else there.
That's really great to hear, and I'll keep an eye out for future outings. Top 4 drivers in for the pit stops as we were chatting, and so Andy Carroll, Jack Smith, Chris Blakey and Lee Piercy all in for their stops. The top stopper at the moment is Thomas Potter. Thomas, who in our last but one championship really mastered the reverse grid thing and changing tyres and getting in and out at the right time. At the moment, he's the top stopper. Catherine Potter here, still ahead of him on track at the moment. Catherine takes her turn to come into the pit lane for her mandatory stop. There is Thomas, who looks like he is staying. He's had a stop already, Thomas Potter. So he is in 5th position at the moment. Again, hoping for a better round is young Thomas. I feel guilty asking him the question about give us some French on air, but you know what? That youngster will just throw anything at you and will have a go at absolutely anything, and did absolutely superbly in that first interview. As we watch him again, looking forward to hopefully catching up with him and the family when Touring Cars rolls into Croft at the end of the summer break. I think that's the first weekend in August. It seems a little bit of a way off now, as the stops are starting to sort themselves out. So it's Jack Smith out front, Andy Carroll in P2. They've come out exactly the same. They've got the stops mastered because they've come out in exactly the same order in which they went into pits. So fair play to all of our top 4 drivers. Good stopping strategy from the 4 of them.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and we can see Jack Smith. He's just been the class of the field today, as he's shown, I guess, all season. The fact that he's got the championship lead as it stands, and currently just under a 9-second gap. So yeah, he's definitely the class of the field currently.
Running really well, isn't he? Out front, and it'll be a bit weird not seeing him at the last 2 rounds. And I guess that means I won't commentate on him until the I don't know, autumn series now, which seems a mega way away, but hopefully we'll catch up at a racetrack as Chris Blakey goes through in P3. Might want to start thinking about our driver of the round. I've got some thoughts which I'm going to put in chat, but I don't want to jinx anything, so I'm not going to say anything on air because we never tend to do that. But Paul Laramie now has closed down on Sam Walton, so a good battle developing between this pair. So we'll see whether Paul Laramie can make up another place. Thomas Potter in P4 and Lee Piercy right behind him. Thomas was applying, remember, was applying the pressure to Andy Carroll well before the brakes before the pit stop break for challenging for second position, but had that off, which dropped him down the order. But he's recovered well here, Thomas Potter. And P4 was one of the early stoppers, so that strategy seemed to work quite well for him. Back with Laramie and Walton. So Laramie in 8th position. Kat Potter now in 10th place, but a really good opening stint for Catherine Potter. She should be really pleased with what she's done there. Showing you how hard work it is there. Paul Laramie going down into La Source. You can see the car really working hard. He's done the hard work in terms of catching, but seemingly nowhere to pass Sam Walton at the moment. And Sam doing a really good job of soaking up pressure at this stage.
Yeah, definitely. It's tough, especially as you come towards the end of a race, to be able to soak up the pressure. But no, he's doing a very, very good job there. As we do see a potential move and up the inside. A bit of contact there. Yeah, see whether that was fair or not, I don't know. But he's passed, so yeah, see what we can do for the last 10 minutes now.
Yeah, it was a little bit of contact, so that will be looked at by Rich, our clerk of the course. And if you have a look at the VRRC site, if you look at the stats, the results normally published on, I think Rich looks at them Thursday morning, and then the results are available for people to see on Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening, which is normal. I normally tend to write up the results on a weekend, so I'll probably be doing it in the hotel on Saturday night when we're away at touring cars. Sad weekend for us this weekend coming up. It's Steve Ryder's last touring car round, so very much the end of an era of Steve on ITV. Big pity, but I guess the guy can't go on forever. He needs to go and enjoy his retirement. But a big shame for him, and our script lady as well, Hutch, is going, which is so there's some big changes afoot in the touring car camp in terms of the programme. The quality should be maintained. I'm not sure if anyone knows who's taking over from Steve or whether I'm allowed to say, but I won't say it on the broadcast. But I think we're going to be in good hands going forward anyway, which is good to look at. So we've got personally got at least another 18 months to look forward to touring car coverage, which is good. As Thomas Potter and Lee Piercy beginning to engage in a little bit of battle here. Thomas, I'm feeling struggling with maybe himself and perhaps the car here, so doing a good job of holding on to P4, and Lee Piercy always there or thereabouts is Lee Piercy, starting to put a little bit of pressure on Mr. Potter. You can see how close they are actually, because you've got Chris Blakey in third going through, so this might even end up in a podium battle because we've still got 7 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, it could do. Some good laps coming in from Lee Piercy there. The green sector one for him. So see if he can keep putting the pressure on, and if Thomas Potter can hold him off and maybe put some pressure on Chris towards the end.
Wonder whether they are able to work with each other. I guess they're probably not going to do that at this stage with 7.5 minutes to go. So probably 4 laps remaining of this race, with Jack Smith still out front, 12 seconds clear. Rich Hayden's made up some ground from his earlier problems. Got ahead of Kat Potter now, so Rich up into the top 10. Catherine Potter 11th, John Jones in 12th. Ahead of them in 9th place, Kenny Press in 7 Up cars. Sam Walton is behind is down behind Paul Laramie, and then Alex Walker, who's behind the Piercy and Potter battle, so you might see him in the distance as we look back from Thomas Potter's car. Really fantastic shots these, give you a great idea of what the drivers are going through, and Lee just loses a little bit of ground there, so Thomas just extending his
fourth position run. Thomas, was on the podium, double podium at Monza, and 8th and 4th last week. So he's going to be keen to get back into podium positions. Perhaps Zandvoort will be the one for him. Now Zandvoort's on the F4 calendar, so now they had their testing a while ago. Did you test there, or did you chaperone any drivers out there at all, Harry?
No, that was actually, I think, one of the only tests this year that I haven't been to. I was with the drivers the week before. We were doing a lot of sim prep, so I haven't been going to the circuits. I've been at the sim with the team, making sure that they're all prepared. And I will say, out of all the tracks, we've been very, very close, but Zandvoort seems to be the one that I had a little bit of an advantage over Rowan and Joel there. So, yeah, I'll make sure that one's known ahead of the weekend.
Yeah, you might have to. I was going to say, remind me when we do the coverage, but I'm not working on the Zandvoort coverage, which is a pity. But otherwise, I could have fed that in. But never mind. And in terms of like the JHR team, obviously Jamie Hunter Racing, Stephen Hunter looks after the team. There's where's the base, and is the sim where the cars are kept, or is there a separate facility that you use for sim practice?
No, well, I've got a sim at home, which I've been using little bits for prep, but no, most of the prep was done at the workshop in Dronfield, with where the cars are kept. It's the workshop for the F4 cars, for the GB3 cars, and then where we have the sim then as well. So it's a good facility that they have there. The sim is very, very good. I haven't seen many of the others on the other teams, but no, it's a good sim, and it's really good when we've got. At one point, I think we had 4, maybe 5 of us on the sim at once of the F4 drivers. So it's good. We can compare all the data between the 5 of us and use that to our advantage to be able to go forward.
Thomas Potter's not going forward at the moment, is he? We saw a little spin while we were talking about the JHR sim category, and a little bit of frustration. I feel for Thomas. He's not had a lot of luck in the racing this nearly said weekend in this event, we should say. So Thomas down in P5 at the moment. Lee Piercy's very clear of him at the moment. So Lee Piercy is going to be the top team runner here out of team Piercy Hayden. There is Chris Blakey still in P3 with Andy Carroll in P2. He's done a good solid race for P2. Jack Smith, though, pole potentially and double win. Andy Carroll, and you'll understand at the end of the programme why I'm about to make this comment, did very well indeed to grab that podium in race 1, having qualified 6th. And probably when we spoke to him in the qualifying interview, in the race interview, wasn't overly expecting to be having good race pace, but rather modestly said, there were cars falling off. But he's been there, and I think he's managed himself very well over the course of this race thus far. Still got 3 minutes on the clock. And he's being closed in on now by Chris Blakey, so it's going to be interesting to see whether this develops into a race. I'm wondering how keen Chris Blakey is going to be. 5th position in the championship, Chris. Potentially going up to 4th, depending how close he was to Lee Piercy coming into this event. And I'm just thinking about this. I'm pretty sure Chris Blakey top Porsche runner in this one, because we've got Ferrari, Honda, Porsche, and then Ferrari again. So Chris Blakey having a good run. Talking Porsche, let's go back on board with Paul Laramie. 2:50 to go. Still no questions over Jack Smith, our race leader. We've got Alex Walker in behind. Alex Walker now ahead of Thomas Potter. So Thomas trying to fight back again, but Alex Walker looking fairly settled at the moment in P6. Again, Alex, good, consistent racer. So good points being collected for Alex, who is 7th in the standings coming into the round, and could well be stronger still, Alex Walker. I think the round that he will probably drop, Brands Hatch only finished in race 1 at Brands, which was a 12, so that's probably his drop score. So pretty much every finish that he gets will add to his total. He won't be worried about drop scores at all, Alex Walker. And running well, but 2 minutes 9 remaining on the clock. And Harry, how has your first virtual reality racing club event been? Oh, as we bigged up Alex Walker, he has a little gyration. Sorry, Alex, if we spoiled the party for you there.
Yeah, it's been good. I've really enjoyed it, Richard. So it's been nice to join you after all the time that you've been commentating over my racing. So it's nice to join you in the virtual commentary booth and get to commentate over some some good racing. It's nice to see some sim racing going on. Even in the week when there's no racing going on. So it's nice that there's always something going on and something interesting to watch.
Absolutely right. It's been a pleasure. And just anyone who's maybe watching this, and if anyone snippets this down or whatever, and say Harry was, as we said, we met on the Ginetta Junior Scholarship, and Harry was one of the very few drivers to get in touch with me as the media judge before the event. And it's absolutely that sort of thing, just not essential because not everybody does it, but it just makes a difference if you've spoken to people before. And if you carry that forward, if you speak to someone before a job interview or anything like that, it just gets that first communication out of the way. And it's exactly the same when you get to the racetrack. Always go and talk to the commentators and the people that are going to be interviewing you in pit lane if you're going to get a win, because you don't want your winner's interview or your podium interview to be the first time you talk to those people. It's so much looser and easier. So Harry did exactly the right thing. I think it was your driver manager or coach that suggested, can't remember who it was, that suggested that you did it, but
it was my manager. I'm not officially part of it, but Guy Smith.
Guy Smith, yeah.
2003 Le Mans champion. So
I was going to say, there's a real endurance connection there, isn't there, with Guy?
There is, and I've learnt lots from Guy over the years. From him and Andy Merrick, his business partner there at Greenlight Sports Management. So it's a great team to work with, and some great success there as well from Greenlight last weekend. Ella Lloyd picking up a trio of second places in the F1 Academy.
Yeah, and Ella's back with us this weekend at F4 as Jack Smith takes the win. Congratulations, Jack. He wins a 9th race of the campaign. Meanwhile, the Swavesy Garage car of Andy Carroll will come through into P2. A really good, solid evening's racing from Andy Carroll with that P2 going through. Rich Hayden's stricken car sitting down there on the exit of turn 1. Andy Carroll takes second position. Great result for him. Chris Blake is finished third. Lee Piercy is our 4th place finisher, and he is followed by Paul Laramie in 5th. Alex Walker 6th from Sam Walton. They're not quite up to the line yet. Then it's Kenny Press, Thomas Potter, Cat Potter in 10th. Rich Hayden we saw parked up. I think John Jones had some issues as well. And interviews with our top 3 after this break. Welcome back. What a hot evening it's been. I'll tell you what, if the drivers aren't hot, I know for sure I am in my little enclosed box in my little office here. Well done to all our drivers, each and every one on some great racing this evening. And let's crack on with our podium interviews for our 6th event of the season and 3rd position. Well done, Chris Blakey. A decent race there, Chris.
Survival. It was desperately trying to make the tyres last. Race 1 was just horrific. I thought I could try to keep Jack in my sights as he tried to progress and go quicker and quicker and get a bit of better racecraft, but the tyres just died, and then I died, multiple times. So this race, I thought I'd just try and make it last. So traction control max, ABS max, 8% throttle up through corners, and yeah, we made it last. About there on pace.
Yeah, I mean, and decent points. I think 5th position in the championship, so you beat Lee in that one, so it's going to be pretty close between the pair of you. And I think just 2 points in it as we move on to the penultimate round.
As long as I beat Lee, that's all that matters, really.
Yeah. Well, that's the great thing about the racing, because there are little rivalries going on all the way, and it can be a championship table rivalry or a rivalry in the event or race that we're looking at.
Yeah, Lee's a good mate, so he's obviously next BMW CCR driver. So it's all we have our own little championship going, a kind of mental championship between all the VR BMW CCR drivers. So yeah, it's good. So
and in terms of like the weather that we're experiencing, whereabouts in the world are you? I can't remember whereabouts.
Lincoln way. So I am.
Lincoln, I'm guessing it's pretty hot up there at the minute as well.
Pretty warm. Yes, it is. There's a German Shepherd cowering in a bathroom somewhere, I think, trying to keep cold.
Oh, you got a German Shepherd?
Yeah. My girl Ruby, she'll be hiding somewhere because she desperately wants to go out and play, and but it's just too hot for her at the minute. So about 10 o'clock tonight, I'll take her out and see how she goes.
They have a lot of fur, don't they? Must be really, really hot for them. So
yeah, she's a warm pooch. So I think I'll know how she'll be feeling at the weekend, because I think we're on for 31 degrees at Donington at the weekend.
Okay, well, it'll keep cool. So,
yeah, that's gonna be a warm one. That's gonna be no cool suits for us. It's gonna be.
I was going to make the point. I mean, I think sim racing, esports racing is pretty physical anyway. So I'm guessing you guys get pretty hot even in the winter doing this.
Oh yeah. I'm toasty. I'm sweating. No, there's no doubt about that. It is a physical exertion. The wheelbases are strong, the pedals are strong, and it is a sport. It is exertion. Although my missus doesn't believe that. She reckons I'm just playing games, but she's wrong. So
it is a sport. I'll never forget my son when he was at primary school quite a few years ago now, but about 10-15 years ago now. But and they had to do homework. It was in 2012 when the Olympics was happening, and they had to write about a sport, and it's the only time he was ever fully engaged with homework, and he had to basically do a picture and label it. So basically it was a picture and then writing a label, and he did car racing. He did a kind of brake crash on a bumper, the whole thing. Best bit of homework he ever did. Took it into school, and the teacher said, "Oh, that's not a sport." Totally deflated him.
No,
I put her right, because what she should have said was, "That's a great piece of work, Taylor," rather than "That's not a sport."
Well, she was clearly wrong, wasn't she?
What she was wrong about, yeah. Just how she couldn't say it was a great. Anyway, that's besides the point. But it is a sport, so tell your missus it is. And you are a sports person, an athlete. You got 3rd place today, so well done, Chris. And we'll catch up with you next week at Zandvoort.
Fingers crossed. Thank you very much, guys.
And good luck for the weekend as well, Donington. Another result I've got to look at on TSL over the weekend. So yeah, best wishes with that.
Cheers, guys.
So Chris Blakey takes 3rd position, and Andy Carroll, another interview. Andy, you've had time to prepare some spiel about Swayze Garage, but no, I don't expect you to do that. But well done on P2, and we're also awarding you driver of the round, so well done.
Oh, cheers. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, that was... Yeah, I played for Chris first, because I know he's suffered with tyre wear a lot in most rounds, so he's often been in good positions, and sort of the tyres have let go on him, and he's sort of cost him. So yeah, I was just really trying to, obviously, was in a good position at the start. Sort of stayed around the outside, managed to avoid anything happening on the inside of turn 1, and obviously was then off out in the lead for a bit. But yeah, kind of looked at the timing screen and saw Jack Smith was only 1 or 2 seconds behind, so that was just the sound of inevitability driving up behind me. But yeah, no, and then of course I had to sort of keep my eye on Tom, and he kind of got pretty close but dropped it towards the end of the lap. So at that point I was feeling pretty positive, and just a question then of trying to keep that gap to Chris, because I know he had strong pace, but also knew that if he pushed too much he'd suffer with the tyres towards the end of the race. So yeah, just kind of tried to keep that gap as as high as possible and not let him get too close. And yeah, just managed to kind of, I think his tyres were probably almost done by the end, so just managed to keep ahead of him. So that was good.
Oh, you're very modest on race one, saying that other drivers had fallen off or whatever. But I mean, I think one of the reasons why we decided on driving the round was obviously maybe weren't quite as on the pace as you thought you might have been here with 6 in qualifying. So two podiums and very well managed races from where we were standing is why we gave you that, and it's got you into P2 in the championship. So
it's quite tough with the amount of ballast. Jack, Tom, and I are having to carry it. Obviously Jack and Tom have probably got a bit more natural pace than me. But yeah, it's quite tough to kind of get one quick lap out of it in quali. So it was kind of where I always thought I might be in quali, sort of around the 2:15 mark. But I think it paid dividends in that start of that second race, because it meant that I was a couple of places nearer the front of the grid. So I think that helped out.
That's cool. What are your movements this weekend? Are you up to anything this weekend?
I have a 5-year-old's birthday party to attend with my daughter, so that's going to be fun, because that will be indoors in 30-something degree temperatures with 30 5-year-olds running around, and I can't wait for that.
They're nice things. The temperature can be a bit iffy, but no, they're nice things. So I hope you enjoy. I tell you who is enjoying things at the moment. Paul Laramie is already, I see on the server for Zandvoort with Rich Hayden. So they're already getting practicing. So you looking forward to Zandvoort?
I'm not sure how they're going to go in these cars. It's going to be an interesting one. Obviously, some of those corners are going to be interesting. Those sort of that first sector where you've got this sort of tight banked corners could be interesting for these cars. They don't tend to like being unsettled at the rear, so it could be. I think it will be not. I like the sort of second half of the Zandvoort. The first half of the lap's pretty challenging. So it's going to be interesting to see how we get on there. But it's a great track. So.
Cool. Well, we look forward to that. Well done on a good brace of podiums and also driver of the round. Well done, Andy Carroll. We'll see you next week.
Thanks very much. Yeah, we'll do. Cheers.
Thanks, Andy. Good to hear from Andy Carroll, driver of the round. And I suppose people will probably possibly argue that the guy who took pole position and 2 excellent wins. And so we say well done. Also farewell to Jack Smith. Well done, Jack. Great evening's racing.
Yeah, cheers, mate. It was it was a great race too. I think there was a lot of fun at the start. Lots of little battles and trying to get through the T1. I don't even know what happened at T1. I just sort of got knocked and luckily didn't get tagged around. But we made it through that, and nice little battles throughout the first part of the stint, which was nice. So really enjoyable.
That's good. And you can sign off now. So you've got 257 points, and Andy Carroll's on 176. So do you reckon that's enough?
Potentially, I hope so. I'm gonna have to hope, aren't I? I can't really do anything else. So we'll have to have my fingers crossed. I think, see what happens. You never know. I've done all I can do at this point. So and I think I've done a fairly decent job. It's been a really fun championship. I think it's different kind of cars. Lots of fun, and everyone's just been great racing all season. So it's been a pleasure. It's a shame I'm missing the last 2 because they're really interesting tracks, I think. So if I was around, I'm sure I'd 100% be making these last 2 for sure. So we'll have to. I'll be watching for sure whilst I'm away, and I'll be cheering everyone on.
It's the middle of the afternoon, isn't it, in the States, or get into or late afternoon?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So you'd probably be in the bar or in the pool or something. So
most likely, I'll be watching from the bar.
we 100% forgive you if you're not watching. I know you'll catch up, but I hope you have a great time out there anyway.
Oh, thanks, Richard. Yeah, no, it's a long time coming. I think we've not really had a break in a while. I know I've been pretty flat out these last few weeks, so it'd be nice just to have a couple of weeks just not thinking about anything, which would be lovely. So and I really look forward to it, and I'm sure I'll be missing the racing by the time I get back. And yeah, so and thank you to all of you guys for running the stream. I've been watching every single race back, so it's been really good, really good quality streams. Thank you to Steve as well for broadcasting it. It's been every single stream's gotten better over time, so it's just getting to proper quality streams now, which is really good to see. And then yourself and all the co-commentators that you've had over the course of the season. Thank you to everyone for running the show.
Thank you for that, mate. And actually, we'll have to get you along as a co-com if you're not doing a race on something a little bit later on. So that'll be quite.
Oh yeah, I'd love to do that. I used to do a few little bits for a few leagues, so it'd be good. Yeah, it'd be a good little gig. I think I'd enjoy that quite a lot. I'd be happy to do it for the minis as well. That'd be a fun little thing to do.
I will let Ria know at the weekend, and yeah, I'll let her know. I know they've got minis. Have got some of their own folk lined up. I think they've got 7 lined up. But if we can, that'd be pretty smart, because it would be nice having an esports expert, an esports champion doing some stuff as well as the real world drivers. So yeah, we'll do that. And if not, we'll do it with a later series as well. But Jack, have a great holiday. You've set the target now. 257 is the points total, which the others have got to try and aspire to. It's going to be 3 in the next couple of weeks to see how everyone gets on, trying to close down on that. But have a fantastic holiday. Thanks ever so much for entertaining us, and well done on some great driving again.
No, thanks, Richard. And just quick shout out to everyone. So parents are watching. I know Ollie's watching actually. He didn't want to race tonight, but I know he will be watching. Dave is watching as well. So big thanks to Dave for letting me put his logos on the side of the car. Time for Motor Services, Sherburn Mobility Centre, and the Hobcavern lot. We all love the Hobcavern lot. They're all watching at the pub. So hopefully you've had a good time watching this tonight. And then big shout out to my girlfriend as well. She's watching. She's been watching every race this season. So yeah, big thank you to her as well.
Thanks everyone for your support, whether it's for Jack or people that are supporting their other halves and racing period over the course of VRRC. Jack Smith there, our winner, pole position, double win, superb stuff. He's off on holiday. We've got 2 more weeks to go. Our next round is round 7 at Zandvoort, as you can see. Really excited to be looking at that. Before we go though, I'm just going to say, Harry Reynolds, thanks ever so much for joining us and continuing the journey we've had, which has been great through Janetta Juniors and everything else. And I hope you'll come back and co-com with us again, that we can add you to the ever-growing list of people that have done such a super job. But a real pleasure to commentate with you tonight.
Yeah, thank you, Richard, and thank you to the whole team for letting me join you this evening. And yeah, good luck to everyone else for the rest of the 2 rounds, for the rest of the season.
Thanks, Harry. We'll see you soon. Championship positions as we head to Zandvoort. Jack Smith leads 257. Andy Carroll second on 176. Thomas Potter third on 165. 5 points clear of Chris Blakey, who is 4th. Lee Piercy only 2 points down in 5th place. Then Alex Walker 7th from Rich Hayden. Oliver Gibson is still in 8th place. Then it's Paul Laramie, Christian Gillian wrapping up the top 10, ahead of John Jones, Catherine Potter. Daniel Heap seems to be back with us soon. Daniel, hope you're well. Look forward to seeing you. Sam Walton 14th from Kenny Press, Scott Bugner and Jack Dickerson. That is a wrap. Thank you to everyone. Great work by Steve Allen on our directing again. Thank you very much indeed, Steve. Thanks everyone for watching. As I always say, be nice to each other. It's so important. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week at Zandvoort. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.
Between the 2 of them,
The inside of Coates.
Parker gets too heavily involved.
And that's Whitehead and Coates.